Hey guys, how's it going? This is n8great321 here, and today I got another review for you, and we're going to take a look at the Punisher for the Sega Genesis. Now, this is a port of a Capcom arcade game, and the arcade game was released in 1993, with this Genesis port hitting North America in 1994 and Europe in 1995. And this home version was published by Capcom, but it was developed by Sculptured Software, and they ported a lot of arcade games from this time to home consoles. This game's a side-scrolling beat-em-up similar to something like Streets of Rage or Final Fight. Those kind of games were really popular in the arcades and on the home consoles in the early 90s. And for the most part, it plays pretty standard to what you would expect out of that genre. There's various weapons you can pick up along the way, you get food to boost your health, and even some backgrounds and parts of the environments can be destroyed. However, I think the one thing about this game that's unique and helps set it apart from other games in the beat-em-up genre would be the level of violence in this game. I mean, you get guns in this game, and beat-em-up games always have weapons, but they're always only melee weapons. They're like baseball bats and lead pipes and knives and that kind of stuff. But you don't ever see guns, and in this game, you get a handgun, you get grenades, you get a machine gun later, you can even get a flamethrower. And I think that's the one thing that makes this game unique. And this game, like basically every other beat-em-up game ever, is multiplayer. You can play two players. Player 2 would play as Nick Fury, who's another character in the Punisher universe. But if you'd rather play as Nick Fury and have player 2 play as the Punisher, you can do that too. You have to change it in the options in the main screen though. There's really no advantage either way though, because both characters are identical. I had already mentioned too in my other video when I picked this game up that it did have some sentimental value to me. I remember playing the arcade game when I was younger. When my family went to Disney World, our hotel's arcade, back when hotels had arcades, they had this machine in there, and man, I played the crap out of it. And for better or worse, I guess, it's one of the things I remember most about Disney World. And when I got home and found out there was a Genesis version, I knew that I immediately had to have it. I know I at least rented it probably multiple times, but I never owned it, which really sucks, and I was super excited to find this just a couple weeks ago. Alright, so here's a boss fight coming up, and honestly, the boss fights I don't think have been that difficult. I've had a lot of luck just kind of jumping up and throwing grenades at the ground, and that seems to get the job done. So, I don't know, maybe they get harder later. I haven't, played that far into the game, but so far they're pretty easy. And you can hear, especially here, but throughout the game, this game's got excellent music. I mean, Capcom games always seem to have awesome music, so this is just another great job by them. I know I said this game's violence is what sets it apart, but for the home version they had to censor and cut out some stuff from the arcade game, actually, and here's one example at the end of this boss fight. In the arcade version, he shoots this guy after he interrogates him, but in this, he just kind of throws him off the bus, which is pretty funny, I think. I like these kind of stylized cutscenes in between the levels, too. It reminds me a lot of Ninja Gaiden or something like that. I just wanted to fast forward because you get to see more of the guns in this part of the game than the other part. Now you might be thinking that if you always have a handgun with you and it has unlimited ammo, why don't you just use it all the time against everybody? Well, the game doesn't let you do that. For the handgun, you can only use it against other characters that have handguns. When they show up, it draws the handgun out automatically, and it puts little kind of aiming reticule on them, and when they're dead, the gun goes away and you're back to just melee fighting. For the machine gun and the flamethrower though, they're treated like regular melee weapons, regular pickup weapons. You can use it against anyone, but it has limited ammo. So I guess they thought that if you could use the handgun for everybody, it would make the game a little easy, so it kind of makes sense. Now, for whatever reason, this game is actually pretty rare, and it goes for a pretty good price on eBay. I mean, the cart alone I've seen go as high as probably 20-25 bucks, and if you're talking complete with the box, that can get up to 50, which is really surprising for a Sega Genesis game. Usually those, even boxed, are 5-10 bucks at the max. Luckily, I got my copy, no book, but has the box in the game for $3.75, so needless to say, I was pretty happy about that. There's a couple other Punisher games out there. I know there's an old one on the NES that's supposed to be pretty terrible, a Game Boy port that's probably about as terrible, and some more recent ones for the Xbox, and like that downloadable one for 360 and PS3, and I've heard all of them are pretty terrible. So, in reality, if you're a Punisher fan, this is probably the only good Punisher game out there. So, would I recommend this game? Absolutely, 100%. I wouldn't rush out on eBay and get the $50 copy. I would kind of hold off and wait and see if you can find a good deal. But honestly, it's a really fun game, really good beat 'em up. It's made by Capcom, so I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And there might be a little bit of kind of sentimental bias to my opinion because, like I said, I remember it from my childhood, but from everything I've heard, it's pretty consensus opinion that a lot of people really, really like this game. So if you find it for cheap, I mean, don't even question it. Take it up. So that was Punisher for the Sega Genesis, and as always, I appreciate and enjoy all your comments. If you want to rate the video, that's great. If you want to subscribe, that's great too. But for now, this is n8great321 signing out.